Hello, YouTube. Hey, it's Mike White with 143. So, one of our lovely customers needs to remove the background from this image and get it ready for DTF printing. And I just thought, well, it's a great, tutorial fodder right here to try to work on something like this. And, we don't mind removing backgrounds. We love it. I mean, we don't care at all. We'll take care of it for you. But the more that you can do yourself, the more control you'll have over the final outcome. And so that's what I'm going to show you today, is how to take the background off an image like this. We're looking at it at 87%. Let's look at it at 100%. So what we're going to do first is we're going to evaluate the quality. And it's not bad. I mean, looking at 100%, it looks pretty smooth to me. So I think, this one we don't need to reduce. But I want to talk about the reduction step because we're going to have to blow this up with AI. I mean, it's the only way this is going to go. I'm looking at the file size. Let's see what size it is. So this is 1047 by 1122. So it's suitable to be printed about 3.5 inches wide. And we're going to want to make a t-shirt out of this. So we need something that's 12 inches wide. We need to at least try to get close to that. So the first thing we're going to probably do is blow it up with AI, but before we do that, we want to analyze it and see, do we need to shrink it? And so to do that, we view it at 100%. So I'm looking at 100% here, and I don't see any quality issues. Sometimes you can't see it on the video, but I'm looking at it right here with my naked eye, and I don't see any quality issue that makes me want to reduce it before we expand it. Okay, so let's just get started expanding it. Okay, so we're going to start out by upscaling this with Pixel Cut. So I've got this in my downloads folder. I'm just going to select the file. And I'm going to choose 4 times because I know I need to go a lot bigger than what it is. So let's see what 4x gets us out to 4188. So that's great. Now again, if I felt like there was image quality issues, I wouldn't just go straight to upscaling. I would reduce it first and kind of remove some of those issues. Okay, so let's just download. And we don't need this. So that just gets me every single time. I just want to download this. It says image larger than 4K. Okay, so it doesn't want to give me the image if it's larger than 4K. So they've got ways to stop you here. So let's just download it, and we'll look at how we can get around that. So it has downloaded it to my folder here, and it's at 2094 by 2244. So we're going to open this with Photopea. So let's just let's actually name the file. Capture is not a good name for this file. Let's name it. We're going to call it Cousin Crew. And I'm just going to put a 2000 in white because that just helps me remember. It's on white. It's about 2000 pixels. That just kind of helps me stay organized. So let's go to Photopea. And I'm just going to open this from my computer. And there it is. Okay. And let's just look at image size. Now, I'm a little rusty with Photopea. Photoshop's my favorite, but I'm trying to do all of this with just free tools. So I'm going to make it 1999. Oops. And that should, with this chain icon selected, that should keep it proportional. So it's resizing it down to 1999 pixels. All right. And then I'm just going to save it. So I have to allow it to save changes, and that's what I've just done. All right, so I'm going to go check my image out again. So now it's 1865 by 1999. So let's go back to Upscaler. We'll re-upload it. Poor guys, we're just getting right around their problem. Maybe, we'll see. And we're just going to upscale it 2 times this time, and it's going to 3,998. So that sounds like that's the biggest we can get that. And we don't need to pay for it. So we're just going to call this white. Yes. Oh gosh. Well, I'll just delete this one. I can call this one original. That's my 2000. Oh, and I should have just named this one 4000. It's 4,000 tall. Okay, so it's really 3998, but that's still great. You know, nice and big. Okay, and so now that we've got this upscale, let's just look at it again. And we're going to look at it at 100% and just kind of determine the quality. And I think it looks great. It's not perfect, but it's certainly a lot better than when we got it. And it's going to be a lot easier to remove this background and clean these edges up, you know, in this state. And now that I see this at 4000, I'm starting to see a little bit of edginess here around it. And, you know, I'm not using the tools I'm used to. I use Photoshop, I use Gigapixel. I'm trying to use all free tools. But I do see this edginess around the glasses. So maybe the glasses were a little lower res than I thought in the beginning. So let's just see if we can clear that up with a little bit of work. I think it's good to see failure, you know, I mean, this, and just see attempts. You know, it's really just attempts. You know, sometimes you have to go backwards and forwards. I'm going to call this Cousin Crew Original White 1000. But sometimes you have to go back and forth. You know, you have to go forward and backward and just figure out the path through. So we're going to start out now with Photopea. So let's just actually open. I'm going to open this up. And I'm going to try to look at this at 100% zoom. Let's see how we do that. Okay, I found it. So you select your magnifying glass and then you click this pixel to pixel. And yeah, I mean, I think now that I'm looking at it, I can see some pixelization. Of course, I just zoomed in further than I needed to. Pixel to pixel is in Photopea is like that my 100% zoom. But yeah, I see a little bit of edginess there, and I can see the upscaler probably, you know, screwing that up. So let's try reducing it just a touch and see if we can get rid of that. So let's go to 900. So go to 900, and now we've scaled it down. I still see a little bit of it. Maybe I don't want to go too small. Let's go, you know, we're going to run out of pixels. So let's go to 800, and let's just hope that that's actually smoothed it out enough. Okay. So we're not going to get as many pixels as we were originally. So let's export this as a PNG, and I'm going to call it White 800 and hit save. All right, so there it is. Okay, let's go back to our upscaler. So 4x now, just one step, should get us all the way up to 3200 by 3248. So that's 3428, excuse me. That's you know, enough to print 10 inches, and you can sneak by and get 12 inches out of this. You know, it's close enough. All right, so let's download that result and let's see what we're going to get. So this is what it's renamed it. It has just put this 1 next to it. It just saves it back in the directory. And I'm going to call this 3200. And now let's open that up in Photopea. So we're just going to do File, Open. And I'm going to grab that 3200 version. And then we're just going to zoom in and do that pixel to pixel. And I don't know how to move around on here. Here's the hand tool. Okay. And that is better. I still see some problems around the edge, but they're a little more like, you know, interesting, like maybe distress. It does, I don't see those same like stair-step jaggies, at least not as bad as what I saw before. Okay, so now we're going to try to remove this background. So there's a lot of different ways to do that. And I'm going to go with, you know, I just use the fit to area command up here. I'm going to go with like a manual process. I mean, there's some automatic background removers in here, but I'm trying to get people to move away from that. So I'm just going to use the magic wand. And again, this is not Photoshop. I'm just telling myself that, reminding myself. So I've just changed the tolerance to 90. I'm going to hit enter on that. And then I'm going to hit Control D to try to deselect. Yep, that works. Got my magic wand tool. I'm just going to select inside and get all of this that wants to come naturally here. And I'm also going to hold Shift and select inside this area. Okay, now let's go back and do that pixel to pixel. It's always hard to work with a new application or one you're not familiar with. And it looks like this has got, I'm selecting the hand tool to move around. I don't want to move the actual document. But it looks like this has got a pretty fine edge in here. I mean, that looks pretty good. So let's grab this area. And then I'm going to go back to my hand tool. I don't know if there's an easier way to do that. And I'm just looking inside here. And this is the kind of decisions that I would love for you all to make. You know what you're going to do. You know what you're putting this on. If you're putting this on a white shirt, it makes a lot of sense to knock out all this white, and we could go through and select as much of this white as possible, and it would just be a softer design. Oops, there, I just did exactly what I said I don't want to do. That's the Photoshop in me coming out. And this, these are choices that are made. It's cutting in here. Do I want that to cut in? Or do I actually want to refine my selection and not select that part? Those are the kind of decisions that we have to make every day for our customers. And we don't mind doing it, but it sure would help us to not have to. It would really be nice for you all to take control over that. So now let's just select the outside here. And at this point, we should have a pretty good selection of everything that we need to. So we can zoom back out and we can just fit the area and just kind of get an overview and make sure we're not missing anything. Because what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try to actually select, modify, expand. I'm going to expand by just 1 pixel. So what that should do, and at least what it does in Photoshop, is it gets me just a tiny bit all the way around. And it's just 1 pixel. We're not losing that much. But what it should do is it should give me the ability to not have any white showing once I remove this background. Okay, so now we're just going to try hitting delete. And we're going to kind of inspect what we've done. So let's do a new layer. And in Photoshop, that's Control-Shift-N. And it is not what it is in Chrome in this area. So let's figure out how to make a new layer. New layer. Awesome. And let's just fill that with black. So you're just watching me fumble around. Sorry I didn't practice this. So there's black, and I've got my paint bucket tool, and I'm just going to paint black, or I thought I would. Let's make sure nothing's selected. Paint black. Oh, select the layer first. Okay. Here's my layer. I'm going to call it black, and we're going to paint on it black. And then I'm going to pull it down behind. And this is how you kind of grade the quality of your background removal. And you can start adjusting things at this point. So, I'm going to actually control click this layer. So I held control and clicked this layer above. And now I'm going to select that layer. And that's going to let me paint on some of these problem areas that I see. So I'm just going to choose black. I have black. I have a brush tool here. And I just see, parts of it that I wish... Well, let's zoom all the way into pixel to pixel. Okay, and I see parts of it that I wish were black, that are not. So I'm just going to paint over those. And the reason I have this selection going is because it just is going to allow me to, not have to worry that I'm painting over parts that I don't want to. So I'm just going to look around here. I'm going to hit Control D to deselect. I see those edges up there, and I don't want them, so I'm just going to try to paint those out. I'm going to Control click again to select again, and I'm going to grab this brush, and I'm just going to paint some of this that I saw, and I'm going to paint all along this edge up here. I'm just running it over the edge, hopefully with the selection area controlling it. And so if I want to increase my brush size, I can use the keyboard commands. It's right above the enter key. There's 2 little brackets. And I'm just using the keyboard to increase my brush size. And I'm just going to run it over all these edges because I just want them to be black. Those little peaks of white showing through, they don't help anything. They just kind of make things look junky, They just look a little not as clean. We like intentional stuff. We don't like unintentional stuff. All right, so, I could do this all day long, but I'm just trying to get rid of the worst parts. Oh, I see a little bit up here. Let's see if I can just get rid of that. And as I do this, you're probably starting to see, I don't know how well it's coming through on the video, but all these little white areas are disappearing. So we've got this little white shine right there. I can just control click and then just paint over that edge with this black brush. And even though I can't see anything happening, it's a little bit reduced when I deselect the area. And I can really see it all the way around here. So, I mean, there's, it's very faint, and I don't know if you all can see it, but all the way around this edge, it could use getting a little bit of solid black and just make the image look better, hopefully against a black shirt, Of course, if I was doing this against a black shirt, I'd want to put a white stroke all the way around this, but it'll make it look better against everything, It's just not going to have that white edge in case she's putting this on gray or whatever color she might be putting this on. So all right, Control D, and now you might be able to tell it's just like those edges are just gone. So when I turn my black layer off, I've just got black. And I will say this, Photoshop does a better job. I'm seeing little pieces of this that I'm not proud of. And Photoshop does do a better job with that. It is professional software and it's paid software, so it's going to do a better job. Okay, so let's say this is what we want. We don't want all this extra white space, so let's get rid of that. So we're just going to zoom out. Let's do fit the area. And let's try Image, Trim, and we're going to choose, transparent. And all the sides are checked, and I'm just going to hit OK. And see how that's come straight in and it's cropped it. So now, what have I done? I've got an image. It's 2,800 pixels wide. It's 3,100 pixels tall, so it's definitely suitable for a 10-inch, 10 inches of printing. And you don't have to worry about the DPI. Just focus on the pixel dimensions. And then I've also got an image here that is trimmed. So when I load it up in the Layout Designer at 143, I'm actually going to get the exact dimensions out of it so that I don't have to worry about what the real size is and try to look at the rulers. I can just type in the measurements. It'll be perfect. So this is what you get out of this. You get something that's trimmed and it's got the background professionally removed. And you've got a larger image than you started with, and it's still in a good quality. It hasn't been enlarged or blown up. It's been upscaled. All right, sorry that this was so long. About 16 minutes in here. Really appreciate y'all paying attention to these tutorials, and I hope that they're super helpful. Thanks, and have a great day. And buy your DTF transfers at 143vinyl.com, of course.